Hello there. Hello there. Today is a video I have been putting off for quite some time now. You may recall all the way back in January, there was only like 500 of you here in January. I decided it would be a good idea breaking my bank, trying to get every single Lego Polybag in 2024. And first off, I didn't even realize how many Polybags Lego released in a single year, let alone how many different themes they released Polybags for. And before we get into that, can we just talk about the shrinkflation of Celebrations tubs? What is going on here? This is a tub from over a year ago. I have no idea when I picked this up. And this is a tub from this year. There is like 3/4 of the plastic here, and I know some people are going to say that there's probably the same amount of chocolate in there. I haven't checked that, but why is everything getting smaller? Because if you are using Celebrations tubs to store your Lego, you can now fit 3/4 of your Lego inside, and I think that's a bigger problem than how big your chocolates are. Anyway, that is my rant over. In these tubs, I do have all of the Polybags I have either bought or mocked together for this year. I've only mocked like 2, 3, I think, of them. But I initially bought like 40, 50 Polybags at the start of the year. And I'll be honest, I haven't really purchased too many from then. I've definitely picked up a few and got a couple that I didn't have in my first video. But I thought it'd be good as I'm not going to be picking up any more Polybags for the rest of the year. If we take a look through, and they are already built, so we might as well have a little look at some of these different Polybags. Now, there won't be an in-depth look because I sort of did that at the start of the year. This will just be general feelings, what I like, and if anything has changed and my mind has changed about these Polybags, I'll also be sure to bring that up. Each of these is going to retail for £3.50 wherever you get your Lego, though some sites like Bric-a-Brac, which is where I bought most of these, I did pay for them. I wasn't sent anything. In fact, I've not even been contacted by the website besides my emailed receipt. Do usually have discounts, about 3 for £10, and sometimes you can even pick them up 2 for £5 in places like Sainsbury's here in the UK. Without further ado, they're not in really any order. I'll probably start off with the Star Wars, one of the Star Wars ones, which I'm sure you'll want to hear about. The TIE Interceptor this year. For May, we got a UCS TIE Interceptor, and to tie it in with that, we got a Polybag of a TIE Interceptor. We got the same thing last year with the X-Wing, so by January, we'll probably be able to tell what the UCS set is going to be. It's not the Polybag that comes out in January. This year, that was an AAT, I think, which should be in the box if that is correct. However, we do normally know the other Polybag by January. It's a solid build. It uses a similar dish piece to the old Planet series, which is really nice, except for this one has some printing. But besides that, it's a TIE Interceptor. There's nothing really special about this model. I realize I have not got enough space on my desk for all of these. Now, over to Minecraft is another really fun build. We've got a baby panda, Steve, and a square cake. Yes, thank the Lego gods, because Lego have been making round cakes for Minecraft for way too long. It is some twisted, sick jokes that they're putting round cakes in a square, blocky game of a theme. But finally, we've got some square cakes. I am so happy they've managed to do it. I really don't know why we had round cakes for as long as we did. We also get a bit of bamboo for the baby panda. Really solid build. Nothing really to complain about. It's not as good as the Polybag we got last year, which was a cave with some dripstone. I think we even got like a creeper, some axolotl in there, and it just felt a lot more. But it is roughly the same size, and the panda does take up most of the piece count. One of my favorite Polybags from this year is this Friends Polybag. It's not a botanical Polybag. It should be a botanical Polybag, but I feel like it does fit under the Friends banner. It comes with 3 flowers, a watering can, and also a black and blue butterfly, which is currently in the drawers behind me. But it's really good for those green stem parts if you don't have any. And I really do like the flowers as they are. Some fence pieces as well. And overall, there's just really nothing that can be complained about. Next up, we saw the introduction of space hitting a ton of themes this year. But we only got one Polybag, and this will be continuing into next year. We've already got images of a space mech Polybag to go with a Space Mech set that we got this year, and this is a little hover bike, which I believe we see a variation of this in one of the bigger sets that allows for a wheelchair to be hooked up to some sort of space hover bike. It's a really cool set. I did have wheels on this and add this to my Lego City at some point, and for that reason, it's definitely up there with the flowers. We also got a police quad bike. Nothing much to say about this. It's very, very similar to that space hover bike. However, it came with a wanted poster, which was the big grab for anyone picking up that Polybag. We also got an Easter Bunny, which comes with a carrot. There are a few not as common pieces, but again, nothing too rare. I was able to part this out with the pieces in my collection. And coming up to the end of this, we have our final official Polybag from this tub, and that is the monkey from Sonic. I can't remember the name, but I never used to look at the names of any of the creatures besides the hedgehogs and echidnas. So if you do know the name of this monkey, definitely let me know down in the comments. But it comes with a coconut and is a really cool build to go with the Sonic sets I picked up last year. Now, before we get into the two that I've mocked together, we will be opening the second tub. There are so many more Polybags in here. First off, that AAT that I mentioned, I saw someone rebuild this into a swamp speeder for the battle droids. That's an awesome mock. Definitely check out my earlier videos for that. I'm actually missing a piece that has fallen off in this tub, so perhaps this isn't the best way to store your Lego sets. But we also saw some Wish sets, which I'm not sure if they come out this year or last year. There's so many Disney movies, I lose track. But this is a really cool set because not only does it come with the main character, it also comes with a little star on top. It actually reminds me of the star from the Lego Movie 2 as well. But that's not the flower Polybag isn't the only Polybag we got from the Friends set. And this Polybag does have its own issues. So what we got is this bike with just a bundle of bricks on the back, which is set to resemble a speaker, and also this little animal pen, which seems to include the Sonic character that should probably come with the monkey. However, it was advertised as a 2-in-1 build and is not the only multi-build Polybag we got this year. But the second set of instructions is implied. It doesn't actually come with them on the Lego website. I got into contact with so many people at Lego, and they really did try their best to try and find some instructions, but they just simply don't exist. So whilst that isn't great, I think most people would be able to build the giant speakers and DJ booth just by the image that is provided, and there are the pieces in the set to do so. I did go back and I'm pretty sure I built it for my last video. But the other multi-build Polybag, actually there might have been a few, is this Ninjago set. Again, missing a sword, so I'm sure we'll come across that at some point. This tub has honestly just been sat under my desk for the best part of this year, waiting for me to finish the rest of the Polybags, and I just never got round to doing it. The other builds for this are quite interesting, but the best part are some of the pieces that go into these builds. A lot of these sets use pieces that the sets from that theme also have been using this year. So this is definitely inspired by some of the mechs that we've been seeing, and especially for Zane, any of the Zane sets. I'm pretty sure that's the name of the right ninja. Probably also been using these parts, but there are some 1x3s with holes in, really, really nice for mock building, and I'll definitely be putting this out as soon as the video is up. Perhaps something more for the flower and animal lovers at home. We've got this dog, which I still think looks like Gromit from Wallace and Gromit, especially if you stand it on its hind legs. But it's really, really cool. We got a German Shepherd, I think, a few years back, and I also have the parts to make 2 of those. I picked up 2 of those Polybags, only one of this dog, but it's a really neat build and would look really cool just sat on your desk if you have somewhere that you usually build Lego. Just make sure you don't confuse this for part of a spaceship and you just have a dog head popping out your Millennium Falcon. It's a bit like Christmas. I'm just pulling all these things out of the one tub. Take that, Santa sack. We also got a Mars Perseverance rover, I think it was, shortly after the rover itself was terminated. A bit bittersweet, but it's really nice to get something like this, and it's a more Technic model, which I didn't realize we got Technic Polybags. I don't know if this was a one-off. I'll be interested to see if we get any next year, but we do get Polybags with the Technic magazine, which are a little smaller than this, but look to be of kind of the similar size build. So it's a nice Polybag, but it's Technic, so we're going to move on. And the other, well, the Creator 3-in-1 Polybag. The other two 3-in-1 builds were not from the Creator line. This one is. It's a little plane that could also be turned into a speedboat. Now I'm testing my knowledge. And also, I think there was another type of plane. This is a little stunt plane, which looks really, really cool. And I suppose it probably is missing another set of wheels if you wanted a bigger aircraft. But it's a really, really nice model and works well with the other builds. They all seem to be relatively the same size. I completely forgot to mention, but the Friends bike with the 2-in-1 that isn't a 2-in-1 does come with a minifigure, and I can't remember the name. This minifigure in universe has anxiety, and something that the Friends line have been doing to, I guess, help with the awareness of mental health have been creating characters that are more relatable to people that deal with things like anxiety in day-to-day life. So I do want to shout that out. I think that's great work over in the Friends line, as well as the prosthetic limbs that they did introduce this year. I think that they're now going to be carrying over into Lego City in 2025. So I think that is really, really nice of Lego to not only cater to a generic minifigure, but also create the differences that we have as human beings rather than just the perfect plastic toy. Speaking of the perfect plastic toy, the Disney Princess set seems to have come apart into like a million pieces. Oh, and here's the Ninjago sword. So this is Aurora's like tree playground. I can't remember the name of the set. I just remember sitting here for a couple minutes just spinning this round when recording that video, and I probably cut out most of it, but it's really, really satisfying. And maybe I need to just upload a short of this spinning. It will probably go viral. It is so satisfying. But as well as Aurora now seated on top of the tree, I don't remember that part of the story, we got a squirrel and a bunny that could go in this carousel tree. Yeah, the more I think about it, try not to think about it too much. It is an odd thought, but I really like how creative this is. And again, super satisfying. I think this is my favourite so far. Oh, and we've got the wanted poster from the cop car. I'm not sure how well you can see it, but I'm pretty sure there was a different one in every city set this year. And it's a good thing I didn't turn this into any sort of professional video, because I've also forgot the crystals from the Space Hover bike. But speaking of bikes, that moves us on to our first and only Marvel Polybag that I picked up this year, and that is the Venom bike Polybag. It's quite cool, but there's only so many times you can see a bike. I mean, DC has a big bike problem. I don't think we've got any rumored for next year, thankfully. However, we did this year also get a Spider-Man bike, so it goes hand in hand with that. I'm just not sure who's asking for all these bikes and cars. And the last official Polybag before we get into the two I started mock building is this birthday Polybag. You can see the penguin actually has mine and my partner's names on it when we printed our own minifigures at the Lego store. But if you do pick up this Polybag, it won't come with your names, or it definitely won't come with our names. I hope it don't come with our names, and would just have some 1x3 white bricks. But that is not the only Polybags I have tried to build. I have mocked together the Ninjago one, which has a really cool play feature where there's something you flick. I think it might be this back bit, and then, well, what's meant to happen is the red tiles, which the minifigures I think are meant to stand on, are meant to explode off, but it does make a mess, and the set is very, very fragile. I guess I'm just going to put this down for now. And last but not least, we now have an empty box, 2 empty boxes in fact. I have made my own recolor of the Mercedes F1 car. I think it's meant to be Mercedes, and this is actually a bit dusty where it's been out for so long. Members got a look into all of these Polybags as I was building them, and at some point about a month or two ago, I think I just stopped building them. There were a lot of Polybags and a lot of new pieces, like the gorilla element, like the Animal Crossing character that I really want to pick up, and just couldn't justify spending £10 on one Animal Crossing Polybag. I mean, I could barely spend £10 on the actual set. But I really like the recolor of this F1 car. It uses the Moon Knight element for the halo of the F1 car, rather than the new recolor into orange, I think is meant to be the original color. And whilst I could have picked a better color than black to recolor it, I like how the different accents of the orange and red parts stick out from the black body of the car, and definitely think if I was an F1 driver, I'd want the main thing to be black just so everything popped all that more. Basically just playing with contrast on an F1 car. But I also remember my original video going on for like 20, if not 40 minutes or something crazy like that. So I'm not going to talk anymore about the polybags. Let me know if there are any other polybags you own down in the comments that perhaps I haven't picked up. Not just from this year, perhaps you picked up some from last year, because a lot of them are still quite available. I'm just going to be twirling this around until I'm forced to edit this video. But I hope you enjoyed. I'll leave the original video on screen now, as well as I'm pretty sure I revisited it in some start of video. So I'll try and find that for you to save you searching. And again, I apologize for the audio quality of those videos, though honestly, recently, I don't think it's been too much better. I've just been screaming less into the mic. Check them both out, and may the bricks be with you always. Around the world, around the world.